All right, but again, my name's Kirsten. So I am an agent here. I'm also one of the coaches here. I'm a tech trainer here as I'm doing that today. I'm also a labs advisor. And what that means is that there's about 100 people in Keller Williams International who are, I beta test command before you get it. So my screen won't always match yours because I'm testing out all of the new features that are going to be coming in command in a few months for you. And I say that for a couple of reasons. One, I have sort of an in to, if you have some feedback about command, I have an in to like passing that along. But also, you see something on my screen that doesn't quite match yours, that's why. I try not to have that happen. A lot of times I'll log in with a different account if it's going to be too different. Sometimes I make a mistake and you see something that is a little different. And that's why it's just I have a version of command that's a little different than yours. Okay. And I did want to point something out that you guys have now that you didn't have before. That's kind of neat. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about today, but I just think I really liked it. So I just want to point it out to you. And that is that at the top where it has command, if you click on the word connect, they revamped the whole KW Connect thing so that there's all this training there and things you can download and everything. So sometime when you have a chance, don't have time for it right now, but sometimes you have a chance, just at the top of your screen, click on connect and start searching on something. And you're just going to find so much good stuff there, like videos you can follow, PDFs you can download, all kinds of things. So anyway, we'll just go ahead and get started on the referral network. And so what we're going to get into today is have a couple of things. I use the referral network mostly when I have let's say a buyer, maybe they're selling a house in Maryland here, and they want to buy somewhere else where I'm not going to be able to, some other state, they're moving somewhere else. Okay, so that's where I use the referral network a lot, is to find another Keller Williams agent to refer my property to. You can also just kind of grow your network in general, but you can just like connect with other Keller Williams agents anywhere. And it's not just in this country, you can actually use this worldwide and connect with, an agent in Italy or something like that. If you had a referral out there for whatever reason you want to. So that's kind of what we're going to get into today, is how to send a referral out, how to receive a referral, and how you can connect with other Keller Williams agents. So it's pretty cool. What we're going to be using today is the referrals applet. And we've talked before about how on the left side of the screen are all of the applets. And the one that is for referrals is the 1, 2, 3, or fifth one down. Kind of looks like a person with a teardrop shape around it. That's to get to the referrals applet, and that's what we'll be getting into today. So I'm going to hop on over to there. Anybody on Zoom, if you have a question, just go ahead and shout it out. I'm not going to be great about watching the chat, so if you put it in there, I probably won't see it just because got too many things going on at once. So here on the referrals, right now we're at the dashboard. And I've kind of left mine alone so you can see it. I have 4 people who have just wanted to connect with me. They don't have a particular property to sell. They're just connecting with other agents to make referral partners around the country. So those are some pending invites I have. I don't have any pending outbound invites. This kind of gives you like sort of the status over on this dashboard. Of referrals that you are sending and referrals that you're receiving. Okay. So let's just start it with the most common thing that people do, which is I have a person who wants to buy a house somewhere else where I can't help them or rent. All right, so let's just start by taking a look at the map. So typically, when I have a referral that I want to send out, the very first thing that I'm going to do is search for Keller Williams agents in that area. Okay, so you can use any city you want, but let's just start looking at the map. If I click on map at the top, I'm seeing the map of the United States, and I'm going to pick an area You pick anyone you want. I'm gonna do Ithaca, New York. Okay. Okay, so somebody called me on the phone and they said, you know, I want to buy a house in Ithaca. Do you know somebody there? Okay, so I typed in Ithaca, New York. Now, depending on how rural or urban the city you type in or the area you type in, if you go to New York City, you're going to see a lot more agents than I am if I'm going to go to Ithaca, New York. So I picked something sort of in the middle. And what you're going to see, depending on which area you've chosen, in order to start seeing agents over on the right side, you might need to zoom in a little bit. It's not going to show you any agents if there's just too many to show. Right, so you can click that little plus sign to zoom in if you need to. That's kind of in the lower left corner, that plus sign. I want to zoom in. Okay, so try it out in whatever city you want to try. Just make something up. And you'll start to see some agents listed on the right. Now, I like to kind of figure out, so if I have a buyer, I want to make sure that I'm getting a good agent, right? I don't want to just randomly choose one. I want to make sure my buyer's taken care of and the transaction is going to close, right? So typically my first step is to search for some agents and then call them, right? And the reason I call them rather than just pick somebody is, well, first of all, if they don't answer my phone call and they don't return my voicemail, that's a really clear indication to me that they're also not going to do that with my clients, right? So I'm going to call them. That's, for me, that's like bonus points if they actually answer the phone when I call. But if they don't answer it, then they call back really soon, that's good too. But I can also see some things about each of these agents. So right now, these are sorted randomly, but there's a pop-up menu where I can sort them by their name. I can sort them by how many units they closed, how many listings they've sold, how many buyers. So there's a lot of things that I can sort by. And then I can go to any of the agents in my list, click on that agent, and I'll see their profile. It'll give me their email address, their phone number, whatever they put in their biography, how many units they've sold. You know, so that kind of gives me a good idea. I'm not going to choose an agent who has never, you know, has had only one transaction, right? I want to at least have a few transactions under their belt. I personally also don't choose somebody who has a giant team, because I want to make sure my buyer isn't handed off to just a brand new agent, right? So you're going to spend some time figuring out which of these agents look to you like they have some experience. Okay, and then you call them, have a conversation about your client and see if they, you know, maybe you call them and they don't, you know, work in that area where your buyer wants to buy. You just need to verify that before you send that referral. All right, so has everybody tried it yet? Have you tried searching on page? Any questions? Yeah.
Not related, but not related. Luxury agent.
Okay.
So what does that mean? Like some other agencies don't have?
Good, that's a really good question. What is the luxury agent? It's different in different areas, but it's going to be a dollar amount. So agents have had, I think it's 3, but I might be wrong about that. Don't quote me. Transactions above a certain dollar amount.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to see that though.
Okay.
You know, that if you happen to have a buyer who is looking for a higher price property, you would probably want somebody who has done transactions in that price range before.
So this agent,
Yeah,
he has a lot of cities listed teams.
Yeah.
So he is in the broker or.
yeah, so he has a bunch of teams, doesn't he? Yes. So like personally, I tend not to use the big teams just because I'm worried it'll be handed off right to somebody. So I usually pick somebody who, I don't mind a small team, you know, but it's really a personal choice,
Right.
you know. So I really spend a little bit of time trying to figure out who's a good agent, and then we get on the phone. And in that phone call, I'm going to tell them about my client and make sure that my client is a good fit for them. You know, that they do that type of transaction, whatever that happens to be. They service the area where my client wants to move. That's really important. Because sometimes you have somebody who wants to buy in, an area that's pretty rural, and then you might not find an agent that's right or close. You might have to find something from them. I'm also going to tell them what my referral fee that I'm paying is. Or that I want to be paid. Okay, so so my referral fee is 25%, for example. I'm gonna, in the conversation, make sure that we agree on that. All right, so. Did everybody find an agent? Okay, good. All right, so if I found an agent, I had a conversation with them, and I decided that this is the agent that I want to use. Okay, I can then send them a referral. I'm going to do this halfway and then just cancel it, okay? So there's a button that looks like, to the right of their name, it looks like sort of a rectangle with an arrow pointing up. You see that one right there? That's how you actually kind of make it in writing almost, okay, that you're sending the referral. And you do that by sending them the information about the client that that you want them to have. So I'm not actually going to send this, but I click that button, and now I can say whether this is a buyer, seller, tenant, or landlord. I can put in what my referral fee is, how long they have to accept the referral. Okay, so they need to get back to me in 24 hours and accept it. If they don't accept it in 24 hours, I'm going to move on to somebody else. And put in what my client's minimum maximum price is. I can write a message. And then here's what's really important. Below that, you're going to choose a contact from your command, and that information will get sent to the agent after they have accepted the referral. It won't go until they accept it. But then they get to see the client's name, phone number, email. Okay, it does not send all of the notes that you have in there, but it does send name, phone number, email. So I could type it in, I could just select somebody from my database. Okay, just pick up somebody, okay? So I get to choose whether they are pre-qualified or pre-approved. If either of those apply, I can put in what their location that they want is, and it's giving them sort of all of the information that they need. And I'm not going to hit send because this guy's not really buying it. I don't know that lady. But you get the idea, it's really nice because then all that information, it's documented within command that you offered the referral, they accepted it, they have all that contact information. Okay, and then you're going to be able to get updates within command as well. Any questions so far on how that works? It's really easy, I think. Okay, so try it out. I'm going to hit cancel. Just try a different area, see what you can find about, If I-
give them, sorry,
Oh, no, go ahead.
can you give them like 3 days or is it?
Whatever you. 24 hours is just the default, but if you want to give them more time, go for it.
Okay,
Yeah, the reason I usually don't is just because I've just gotten off the phone with them. They've
yeah,
agreed that they're going to accept it.
yeah,
And so I kind of expect them to just take care of it right away.
right.
So that's kind of my reasoning on it, but it's totally up to you. You guys get warm in here. I saw because I'm getting cold, but it's warming up a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna do. Just gonna do Washington DC just because. No agents found. Reasons no agents So I've got to get rid of this. Oh, here's what I need to do. Putting it in the wrong place. Okay. Switch.
Harrison, I have a question.
Sure.
When you said when it's too many that shows up on the screen,
Yeah,
there's a way to reduce or minimize it. How do you select an area
Yeah.
from, okay, the masks that are there?
yeah, actually, I was just thinking that we have a mind meld going on here. I was just doing that so I could demonstrate it. So I just pulled up Washington DC. Okay, so these little dots represent transactions, like it's just, there's no agents showing here because it's just too many to show. Okay, so at that point, I have to zoom in on an area and I'm gonna zoom in close to where my buyer wants to live. Okay, so wherever that happens to be, I'm gonna move that part of the screen sort of to the center. Okay, they wanna move closer to College Park. And then I start clicking the plus sign button until I start to see agents showing up in my list on the right. Okay, so I had to zoom in a good bit before I could see more agents because there were just so many agents in Washington, DC. Does that help? You able to see it? If you already know the real estate agent, you could also just click new referral and type them in. Okay, but typically I don't know the agent and I'm using this to find them. So go ahead and try finding an agent out of the US if you want, or try finding an agent, you know, in a different area just to practice it. And then I also wanted to show you this pop-up menu right here. I can see agents by their production. I could also search for market centers. Okay, so let me just give you an example of that. You have a friend who lives somewhere else and they're thinking about becoming a real estate agent. And so you want to direct them to a Keller Williams office close to where they live. Okay, instead of searching on production, I can search on market centers. And then I can say, okay, well, where's the market center close to, I'm going to just do Ithaca, New York again, because that's what I did before. Okay. And I'll zoom out and look for market centers. Okay, and so now I can start seeing where each market center is in relation to that city I typed in. Mostly useful when you have an agent that you want to refer. All right, so you can also add agents to your network. Adding to your network just means you don't actually have a referral to give them right now. You just want to connect with an agent somewhere else so that in the future, you two could be referral partners and you can refer properties back and forth. If you want to do that, you're going to go to the area where you would like to have a referral, find the agents, and then there's a button that looks almost like it looks like a person with a little plus sign to the right of it. Over on the right, next to the agent's name, that's to invite them to your referral network. So if you go to any agent and click on that button, you'll be able to send them an invitation to join your referral network. And that just means you've already connected with them. So later, I think I'm going to have some referrals in whatever city. I'm just connecting with them right now so that we can trade referrals. It'll bring them this invitation. You're going to want to send some kind of message. It'll probably be better received if you type something. Type out whatever message you want and hit send invitation. I'm going to show you some that have come to me just so you can see them. Where they show up is on the dashboard. I'll click on my pending invites. Okay, so here is an example of one. You're a small team in North Idaho, blah, 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 blah. Okay. They're telling me about themselves. And so I can either accept their invitation or ignore it. I'm just going to accept it. No reason not to. Okay. And now they're in my network. And if I click on my network at the top, I can see the agents that are in my referral network that I have connected with in the past. And then later on, if I want to send a referral, I can just go straight to that send referral button and I've already got them there. So if you know right now that, let's say you have family in some other area, that'd be a really good idea to connect with some agents now, knowing that I don't have a referral to send right now, but I've got family in whatever city, and so I'm likely to need an agent. You can go ahead and connect with them right now, then when you get that referral, hit send referral and you're ready to go. All right, any questions so far? Like I said in the beginning, this is a short class. We're gonna have a lot of time for just question and answer afterward. Okay. All right, one other thing I'm gonna tell you about that you can choose if you'd like. If I'm looking at the map, instead of instead of calling agents one at a time, I can also do something called broadcast a referral. And broadcasting a referral means I'm gonna send my information out to a whole bunch of people, and those that are willing to accept it are gonna respond to me, and then I'll choose the message from them. That's a different way to do it. And the way this works is you have to get to the point where there are, right now I'm zoomed out too far, so I'm gonna get to the point where I've zoomed in close enough that I'm seeing agents. Okay. And then instead of doing, I can hit this broadcast referral button right up at the top. When I do broadcast referral, I'm then going to just type in, information about if I'm going to choose whether they're a buyer, seller, tenant, what they are, what price range they're doing, what kind of referral fee I'm doing, all the same information. But this message is going to go out to all of the agents that are in this list. And I only have 20, but it could be a lot more than that it's going out to. I personally don't like that as much. I really do like calling each agent one at a time and figuring it out. But in a pinch, you can do it that way also. And then you could, and it wouldn't be that bad if you got all the messages and then called the agents. That would work. Then you call the agents that actually responded to you. It'd be a kind of way to weed out the people who don't actually respond quickly, right?
That button is not like clickable.
Which one?
Broadcast referral.
You might not have agents on the right side, you might have to zoom in a little bit. Then. I think you might have too many, try zooming in. See if that changes. Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number, but if you have too many there, it won't do it. And you have to zoom in a little bit. When you are getting paid at the end, okay, which is important. So you've got this information in here in command, right, that documents the percentage of the referral, documents that you had that client and everything. You're going to stay in communication with that other agent the whole time that they are, working with your clients. And then at the end, you're probably going to need to send them what's called a W-9. You might not need to at their Keller Williams office. If you need that, it's on the resources page. And then if you are receiving a referral, there's a video on the resources page about how to put that into command. But basically in the part where you're putting in your commission, there's a button you can add, to add that information about the referral fee. So it just gets paid out, paid at closing. It's not something, you don't write a check later or something like that. Okay. Do it as part of that. All right, anything else here? All right. Okay, so I'm gonna open one up. Let's see there. Okay.
The transaction timeline, that's just for when the client wants to
Which
The transactions.
yeah, that's just about where, you know, when they, what their goal is. Yeah. Yeah, okay, got it. Okay. Like I said, this is a short class today, and look, it's only like 1:30. I've already come, which is where I usually am. It usually takes like half the time. But I don't have something else to like combine this with, so it's just gotta be a short class. So before I move, just ask for any open questions. Is there anything about referrals that anybody wants to ask or any comments you want to make? And then then at that point, we're just gonna have open questions on whatever anybody wants to talk about. We don't need a whole hour for referrals.
I have a comment.
Yeah,
Hey, so I've used referrals a few times,
Yeah.
in the last couple of years. And what I usually do, is just try to find somebody who's like my equivalent in the business, somebody who has my same type of years in the business and type of, background, so that I'm matching kind of the energy that I would give to the
Yeah.
energy that they would give.
nice. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, it's always, you know, the person's a stranger, so it's always just kind of like, okay, is this a good, you know, is this person actually gonna follow up, or I don't want them to drop the ball, you know? That's a great way to do it. Okay. If there's no other referral questions, let's just open it up to whatever command question anybody would like to ask.
And you do a mass invite, instead of like a broadcast invite.
For referrals, no. And you know what, you know, it wouldn't be as effective anyway, unless you actually have a referral to send. You know,
Yeah.
like you saw that one I got from Idaho. I don't ever expect to have a buyer client in Idaho. I really don't, you know? And if I did, I'm probably gonna wanna search and make sure it's, you know, an agent that I think will be good with my client anyway. I probably am not gonna just choose somebody because they connected with me on the referral network. You know, so I'm not sure it would be worth your time doing it, as I guess is what I'm saying,
Yeah.
you know? I do think it's worth doing some pre-work if you do have, you know, some kind of other area where you work a lot. You know, or you have family or something like that. I wanted to show you something that I forgot to do, so I'm just gonna do it right now. This is just kind of cool. On the map, if I do referral patterns, I can see what the most common referrals are from our market center. So the 20 top results, this is where people are referring. Which is just kind of interesting, right? Top 20, that's where referrals are. I can also see received. Okay, so the top, that's just at the very top, there's 2 buttons, sent and received. I can see where most of the referrals have come into our market center. Kind of interesting to see where, like, if there are patterns of people moving from one area to another. Doesn't look like it's that many, like, you know, these ones at the bottom are only 1%, so it's not like not like it's a lot of them, but you know, kind of interesting. Okay, any fan question of any sort of any topic?
Kirsten,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I was distracted. I was getting the text. What are you showing right now on the screen?
I'm showing you patterns, so I can see where people in our office are sending referrals to,
Okay,
where we've received referrals from.
okay. And how did you get to that?
When I'm on the map, you see where I'm pointing from the Zoom up here at all? I don't know if you can see me at all, but if you can't, I'll go on my screen. There's a
Okay.
set
Yep, I see that.
received. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm. I don't actually use that very much. That's why I kind of forgot to tell you about it, because, you know, I'm mostly, the biggest thing I use referrals to is when I have a client who's moving somewhere else. And that's where I'm using it. And again, it doesn't have to be in the United States. If I want to see production, I can zoom out. Okay, and let's go. All right, where are my market centers? Over in Europe. Let's just see that. You can see where they are. There we go. So you can see there's market centers all over the world that you can connect with if you have a buyer moving somewhere else.
When you look at production, what period of time does it cover? 12 months, 24 months?
I could be wrong about this, but I believe it's all time.
Okay,
All time in Keller Williams. So if they were in a different brokerage before, it wouldn't be counted. Okay, something else in command that we want to talk about. We are finished referrals. Nobody thinks of something, I'm gonna make something up. So now's your chance.
and you caught me off guard with that.
Well, you know, you, in the beginning, when I said, here's the thing, most classes take about an hour. This particular one takes me like a half hour, you know, but I can't really fit it in with something else. So what I always do is it's like a half hour of referrals and then it's open to anything because, you know, it's not small enough to just stick in with something else. It's not big enough, you know, have its own hour. Okay, if you guys don't have a question, I'm just going to show you this new thing that you have access to that just a couple of weeks ago, I was waiting until you guys had it because I think it's great. At the top of your screen where it says command, if you click on connect, that's going to take you to all of the learning. Okay, and this is great. I really, really like the way they did that because there's a couple of different things you can do here, depending on what it is you want to learn about. Okay, so pretend you wanted to learn about referrals, just because that's a really good one since we're doing that right now. I can search on any topic I want. Let's see, I'll do. Sorry.
You know, I was actually playing around there in there a little bit based on Marty Miller's
Yeah,
66-day challenge training. And some of the things I was clicking on, actually, a lot of it was saying you don't have access to.
huh, okay. I don't know why that would be. When you're in the office, will you show me so I can see if I can figure it out?
Okay,
Because I want to see why, because you should be able to have access to this. So-
videos, I believe.
Okay, I would like to see it and see if I can figure out what's going on there. All right, so I'm just gonna search on referrals, just since that's what we were just talking about. But you see at the top, there's a search bar where I can type in what I want to search for. So I'm gonna search for referrals and learning. And then it's going to show me, you know, different things that are about referrals. All right, so over on the right side, I could choose what type of file do I want? Do I want to watch a video on it? Or do I want to have a PDF about it? And you can see there's learning, but then there's also events. Okay, and KW answers. So let's just click on events and see what there is. Okay, so there's just a class that's happening is what in the next year. If I clear all filters, look at that. So it's just, there's, you know, it's kind of a repeating event that's there. Under learning, I can see that there are, you know, different videos that I can watch. Okay, there's so much here that I can do. And let's say that I found what I like. Okay, so if I click on this video here, I can start watching the video if I want.
Hello, Keller Williams, so excited to be here. My
I
name
can-
is Mark King, I'm the president of
Okay.
KWRI.
I'm just gonna stop him talking just so it didn't do it, but did you see really quick? I could click bookmark. Actually, I should have just paused it. Let me just do that. Okay, so if I open a video, and I don't really have time to watch this whole thing right now, I just think it's gonna be really helpful and I want to come back to it later. Okay, so I just paused the video. I can bookmark it. And if I add bookmark, it's going to add it to my learning tab. So what you could do is, if you're thinking about something that you want to know more about in command, search on it here and then bookmark it, and then you've got access to it later. And at any point, if you want to see all of the things that you've bookmarked, sorry, my Zoom is always constantly in my way. Going to get out of that particular video. If I'm just back on my learning, just got to sit on connect again to get there. When I'm just on the main screen, I can do learning home. If I do my learning, I can see things that I have bookmarked. I can see things that I've watched before. So here's that video I just bookmarked, just right here for me for later. And I just love that because I've got, I've got the ability to just take a look at it later. Okay. I also, if you click browse all, there's just, I like the way that these have been divided up. So within command, it just kind of gives me some basic topics that I can go through. And then I can click, if you're not sure what to search on, this is a great place to do it. You also have access to courses. So there are certain courses in Keller Williams, like you've maybe have seen Ignite, where you've seen, whatever it happens to be, the 6 personal protections, whatever it is. Here they are right here. So you can find one of these classes. You can download the course materials for it. So here's PDFs of all kinds of things. It's just very open and transparent. There's so much there. It's absolutely worth you playing around with it and just seeing what's available. Yeah.
How did you get to the Ignite page?
Yeah, so what I did to get to Ignite is I just went to browse. You could actually search on it, and I bet you would find it that way. I just happened to be in browse all. And I went down to KW University Classroom. And one of the things in there is Ignite. Yep. And then within that, look, I can download the student manual. I can download the instructor manual. There's all that, can see the PowerPoints for it. There's all kinds of stuff here that's available to you.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. So much available. I also want to plug Marty Miller's 66-day challenge. If you haven't talked to me about that yet, you're trying to learn command. Marty Miller is this guy who does this 66-day command challenge. He's on version 7 now. So it's just YouTube videos. They're all maybe like 5 or 10 minutes long. It's not overwhelming. It's really nice to just have just a little snippet, 5 or 10 minutes, and then you practice what you've learned. And then when you're done practicing it, you just go to the next one. And the way to get to that, it's on YouTube, but if you Google Marty Miller 66-day challenge, just make sure you're doing version 7. And when you do it, command is constantly changing. So I just was rewatching it just to kind of see what's in there. And I can already tell you that there are some things that are already outdated, even though it's pretty new. We now have an import button in our contacts on the mobile app. So you might, sometimes there's something new, but he does it every once in a while. Also, an easy way to have access to that 66-day challenge is there is a smart plan in the smart plan library. You can add that smart plan and put yourself on it. And then if you do that, you will get an email once a day giving you a link to the next video. So it just is kind of a reminder to do 1 video a day. You don't even have to think about it. And if anybody needs help adding that smart plan, I'm happy to help out. If you're, if you're in person, it's not a big deal. All right, what else do we have in command? What trouble are you having? What issues do you want to know a little bit more about? Usually somebody has something crazy that they ran into. Okay. All right, well, I'm just going to show you some things then. because we have time. All right. All right, what are we gonna do? Hey, we're gonna take a look at reports.
Quick question, when you mentioned the resources page, is that kwlimpact.com?
No, the resources page is, there's a link to it at the bottom of any email that has come from me or Alana, or pretty much anybody on leadership has a link in it. There's also a link to it if you, in the, every week, there's an email that goes out with all of the trainings, that always has a link to it. If you can't find it, just send me a text or an email asking me to email you, and then I'll remember to do it in 15 minutes when we get out of this room. Otherwise, I forget. And I'll just send you the link. And what I would really recommend is that you bookmark that page. And the reason I did that, gosh, I'll tell you, so often when somebody asks me a question, I begin the answer to that question with, go to the resources page. And then, because that's like your home base. From that point, you can get to everything. There's also a page that I'll tell you about, kwlresources.com. And that's not the one pager. Like the resources page is like one page with everything. kwlresources.com has just like it's lengthier. There's a lot of really good information there. I would absolutely suggest you go to it. And one of the things you're going to find there, all the way on the left side of the screen, there's a thing that says additional resources. Click on that and go to the bottom, and you're going to see something called playbooks. Playbooks are brand new, right? And playbooks are, Keller Williams has kind of come up with kind of a best practices for doing lots of things. For example, if you're going to host an open house, there's a playbook for open houses, and it tells you like what are the best practices, what should you do to set up, how should you follow up with people later, how should you advertise your open house. There's all kinds of really good information in those playbooks, and to get to them again, it's kwlresources.com. Go to the link that says additional resources on the left side of the screen, then scroll to the bottom.
Thank you.
Access to.
Something's going on there. All right, we'll kind of come back to it. All right, we're gonna end unless somebody asks me a question. So somebody figure something out. What do you want to know about? We have 15 extra minutes. All right, well, we'll just end there. I'm gonna hang out and answer questions. We have the huddle coming in here in a minute anyway. This whole series, it's about 12 weeks long, begins again in 2 weeks. Okay, July 21st, or June 21st. June 14th is a great session in here. If you use this a day to take off work, okay? Like it's really, really important. It's the business planning clinic. We do that every year at the end of the year to plan for the next year. But this is like your mid-year business planning clinic. So it's where am I now? And where do I want to be by the end of the year? And you're going to not only make your plan, but kind of go over the models that we use as, millionaire real estate agent, all those models, economic models, lead generation, all of that. I think it's going to be really helpful to you. I believe it's in person and in Zoom. In person is always better if you can do it, but if you can't, you can't, So I hope a lot of you will be there for that. I actually am attending another class, so I won't be there, unfortunately, but I'm excited about the class I'm taking, so it's okay. All right, well, we'll just go ahead and finish up unless somebody has any questions. Thanks for coming on Zoom, and I will see everybody in 2 weeks if you're coming back to restart the whole series again with Command. All right, bye, everybody.